Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our evening conversation with a wonderful guest that we have on tonight. As you know, we bring you 3 nights a week memories of our beloved Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, our spiritual teacher, our spiritual mentor. And tonight it's really exciting because we have this amazing personality that has had so many different personal experiences with him. And so, as you know, each week we share that we're coming to you live on Facebook from our Inter IFAST. And Inter IFAST is the social media part of the Institute for Applied Spiritual Technology. And the Institute was founded by His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And so we are excited. We are so excited. Our team is on here. I believe Anna is here and Kishore is here and maybe Leela is coming. We're excited to bring to you tonight Krishna Shakti, who, I mean, when I think of Krishna Shakti, actually, I know that she's just so materially qualified. However, I think of her as this young girl that was just really self-expressed with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj for many months, sharing with him why she was not going to get captured into the Hare Krishna movement or anything to do with ISKCON. And so they lovingly had exchanges about that for a long period of time. And we were watching the drama, so to speak, on the side and seeing, well, wondering who's going to win. Is the Guru and Krishna going to win, or is she going to win? And of course, we know Krishna always wins. Krishna always wins. So here's Krishna Shakti, and here she is with us tonight. We're so grateful. So the thing about Krishna Shakti that's really very important for many people to know about her is she is a professor. She's actually an assistant professor in the Department of English and African American and African Studies program. And she specializes in globalization and the African diaspora, post-colonial studies, and film studies. She also is an interdisciplinary social science and humanities ethnographer. She's going to have to explain all this. She speaks 3 languages besides English. She speaks Spanish, she speaks Portuguese, and she also speaks Japanese, basic Japanese. She lived in Japan for some time. And in terms of her, services to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, the services that she's done over the years, she's actually from Michigan, and so she's done many services at the temple in Detroit. Detroit Temple, the fishing and there. And she's also, she's done like Pujari services and outreach. These outreach are Bhakti Vrikshas, and she served as a fundraiser for the school, Lord Krishna's school in Ghana. There's a school there, and she was one of the primary fundraiser. She's also served as a translator in Spanish and English, an editor, and she's transcribed many of the books of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. However, right now, she's currently assisting with finishing the book that Mother Parameshwara started, which is another disciple of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, a book about the lives of the disciples of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. However, for me, her call to fame in the devotional arena is the fact that she and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj had these amazing exchanges over the years about her not surrendering to Krishna. That was her whole platform. She was not going to surrender to Krishna. And somehow, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj just gave her so much mercy and so much love. And so here we are with our dear Krishna Shakti. We love her so much, and we welcome you, my love. Welcome you to our memories of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. So please share some memories with us.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This is exactly what Gurudev would have wanted me to do, share my story, because we definitely had a lot of pastimes of how I was not going to enter the movement, and I couldn't stand happy people, and I did not like devotees. And so at the beginning, I was around 11 years old. And my brother kind of briefly told the story. I'm going to tell my rendition of the story. My dad was driving in the car and he was listening to the radio, and they started talking about the demigod's influence in the Middle East. And so after that, he ended up going to a couple of lectures at Howard University. They didn't say anything about Krishna consciousness. At the third lecture, they started saying that, by the way, this is put on by the Society of Krishna Consciousness. And my dad was just like, what? The Hare Krishnas have all this information? He was a practicing Muslim, but he would dabble into yoga, Tai Chi. We had like a plethora. We used to go to, church in different spaces. So he couldn't believe, and he was a seeker, couldn't believe that, the Krishna devotees, like all the people that, dance in bed sheets, as Guru Dev would say at the beginning, were the ones with all this profound information. So, he definitely went against my mother's wishes and ended up becoming initiated. So we were in Maryland at the time. I'm from Columbia, Maryland, and we were there right before we moved. And so the first time I remember Bhakti Tirtha Swami is when we went to a lotus pond in the park, and there was some type of picnic. I think it was July 4th. And so there, I remember like just walking around, and it was such a beautiful day, and all these different people that I wasn't used to. And I remember years later, Guru Dev said, when I first met you all, I was afraid you guys were going to push me into the pond. That just lets you know what kind of mischievous kids we were at the time. And so, I remember that. And I remember also being in the park and just holding Mother Yashoda's daughter, Ladini, at the time, because I was like, I don't want to associate with these people. Let me just hang with the kids. Let me do something else, because these people are strange. And so ended up moving to Michigan. And from there, my mom, you better not get initiated. Her sister was an academic as well, and a professor. And she was just like, they're brainwashing your kids. They're going to brainwash you. Make sure we do not have anything to do with it. And so I was definitely against it. But I started noticing little by little, everyone who hated Krishna consciousness ended up becoming a devotee. And I'm like, oh, heck no. First, it was my mother. And then it was my younger brother and my aunt. And I'm just like, wait. Okay. And so I would go into the living room, our dining room, and there would be a picture of Gurudev. It actually was a picture where he was in the Lotus Park, back in the day. And he would just be smiling in that picture, and it would just really irritate me. This shows you how demonic I was. I just hated his smile. I couldn't stand how I just knew I could feel his presence. And I'm like, you're stealing my family. How dare you steal my family? They're mine, And not that I could tell that anything was going on, but I just, every initiation, I could just feel there was something higher vibration going on. They were not the same. And so this was definitely a interesting pastime. So this was, all right. So this was around, middle school, and then high school. When I was in high school, although I hated devotees and I couldn't stand them, there was something that really attracted me to them. So I when we first came to Lansing, Apurva and Kamalini, Prabhupada disciples were there. And luckily they were there to support my father. And so we would go there, eat, and get, we didn't want to associate with the devotees. So we would just, wash pots and pans. So although I did not like the devotees, I would give books out, tell everybody else they needed to be vegetarian, and just try to stay away from them as much as possible. But then at the same time, I was I saw my dad transcribing, transforming lust into love. And I'm like, well, that looks like fun to do. And I would start doing it too. And I would transcribe a little bit, and then my mom would pick up a little bit, and then I would do it. And then I was just like, okay, whatever. And, my dad gave me the Bhagavad Gita, and I just could not read it. It was just too many names, too many hard, difficult things. And so literally, to show you how mischievous I was, I wrote Krishna sucks on the Bhagavad Gita, and my brother got a spanking for it. and sorry, Palika. And so I just could not stand devotees. So, but I realized that I needed to respect. So I was like, okay, I am getting ready to go to college, and I need to just get my life together. And so Bhakti Tirtha Swami came up, and there was a program in different spaces, and my dad and I had darshan with him. And then he was just like, oh, you're such an attractive young girl, but how is it that you can be so disgusting and eat dead flesh? And I'm just like, how dare he, how dare he tell me that I like I was disgusting, but he had this way and this smile that like when he said these things, just like, he's got a point there, whatever, I'm going to do my thing. And so, from there, I went to Michigan State University. There, I ended up doing different programs, different things like that. I still wasn't a devotee, but I would pass out books and tell everybody else they needed to do different services. One time he came to a radio program for Michigan State, and I brought my roommate. And there, she was Mexican American, but her mom was like very intuitive. And she was just like, where are you? Who are you with? I don't know who you're with, but the energy is very strong. And then while we were there, Gurudev said, you're not going to get any taller. And I was like, so what? He said that thing to you. Why are you freaking out? And she was like, no, my uncle that passed away used to say that to me. He's tapping in. And she's, so it freaked her out. But he would always do like little things that would like kind of tell the future or communicate with the past or just different things. And I was definitely and still am definitely attracted to like metaphysical subject matter. And so like it just fascinated me. So in my head, I always thought of Bhakti Tirtha Swami as my little psychic guru friend. And so I was just like, okay, so at that darshan with him after the program, he was just like, you should start writing me. I was like, what am I gonna, why do you want me to write you? He's like, no, you should start writing. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And so I ended up going to Mexico for a little bit. And I was like, well, while I'm over here, let me, start writing them. And so I never was able to get to the temple while I lived in Merida, but then after in the summertime, I was able to get to DF, Mexico City. And there I would write and say, oh, I met this Catholic monk, and she was like chanting Hare Krishna and reading the Bhagavad Gita. I was just like, that was so strange. I don't understand how that could be possible. And so I would just tell him about basically my little renditions. One of the most profound, not profound, but kind of like shook me up letters that I wrote when I came back from Mexico was, okay, I want to go overseas. I want to go to Ecuador and live there for a year. But I think if I go, my dad's going to die. And he wrote back just so, 2 sentences, 3 sentences. He's like, you're right. Your dad's going to die. Your mom's going to die. Your aunt's going to die. Your grandma's going to die. And went through a list of all these people that were going to die. And I'm just like, how could you say such things? Like, when you're young, you don't think of like death in that, subject, and he just said it like, yeah, that's a fact. You can't stop your life just because people are going to die. You have to continue, doing what you have to do. And so I was like, you got a point there, even though it was really brutal for me, So after that, I ended up going to Ecuador. And while I was there, it was the beginning of like, I'm going to find my own spiritual path. I see what they did to you. My mom, my younger brother, and my aunt. I'm not going to follow this path. So while I was there, I would continue writing him. And one time he sent me a message saying, if you continue messing with the dirt, you're going to be recycled by it. And I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? And how dare he like say that? So then I'm like looking up at the sky, like, God, you trying to kill me? Like, what is going on here? Like, I'm just trying to live my life. I'm just trying to have a good time. Like, this is what you do when you're an undergrad. And so I had a friend that was Taoist, and she was her parents were Taoist. And, we were both like, my parents are Hare Krishna, her parents are Taoist. And we're like, we're not going to do that. Like, I'm not ready yet. But when I'm ready, I'm going to, go all in, but I'm just not there yet. And so, so after that, so a couple weeks later, we ended up going to Guayaquil because I was living in Quito at the time. And in Guayaquil, there was a festival. And so I wasn't able to go to the temple because the temple was closed. But every place I went, I would always try to like go to temples and different things like that because it felt like home. And so couldn't go there, couldn't meet the devotees there. We were supposed to meet with some psychic, couldn't do that at the time. Then ended up going to this Montanita, little small beach. And so all weekend it had been like raining and drizzly. And, you go to a beach after living in the mountains in Quito, you want to enjoy the beach. And of course, like, Monday morning, the sun comes out. All weekend it had been raining, sloshy, muddy. not able to do anything. So I'm just like, oh my gosh. But actually, one thing, while I was in Guayaquil, the city, I ended up staying with a woman that I met in a bar in Quito. And so when I stayed at her house, she had the third canto of the Bhagavatam in English. And I was just looking at the pictures and I'm just like, how on earth does this woman have the Bhagavatam? And I just, you always I love art. So like just looking at the pictures and looking at it was just so amazing. So back to Montanita on the beach, finally enter the water. My friend and I enter. And then next thing you know, it's the first time meeting the Pacific Ocean. And there's like a strong undercurrent and it sucks us further back and we can't touch the ground anymore. And there's like nobody on the beach. I'm just like, dang, got it. Like, so this is like, what's going to happen? Like, I'm about to die right here. Like, nobody's going to know because everybody thinks I'm somewhere else. And so I was just like, all right, I pushed my friend forward and then I went further back and I was like, well, I guess, I was like, let me say Hare Krishna, good luck for next life, whatever. And so like, I said that and then like started screaming. And then luckily some teenagers came on surfboards. And, while I was out there, I was like, dang, man, the whole world is just going to continue without me. Like the ocean is not going to stop. I'm just a little small piece of like a pebble of nothingness in this water. And so I was very, wow, really? Like everything's going to continue. And so some people on surfboards, like teenagers, little kids, basically came and saved us. And from there, as soon as I got out of the water, I look up at the sky and it's exactly the same as the third canto of the Bhagavatam. And I'm like, oh, heck no. And then I remember what Bhakti Tirtha Swami said. And then I was like, oh. And so I was like, oh no, that means God is trying to kill me. Like, I don't want to die. Like, and then I was like almost smashed by buses. And then something else almost happened, like almost died. I'm just like, okay, so I know I need to change, but I want to party and have a good time. So, hard-headed like that. And so so I knew that the end was coming soon for my supposed material enjoyment. And so for Christmas, I decided I was going to go to Colombia. And while I was there, anyway, so I was going to go to Colombia. I let Gurudev know, and he was just like, I am your guru. I don't know why you keep on playing around and like why you don't acknowledge that. And I'm like, I didn't ask you if you were my guru. Why are you telling me that you're my guru? How dare you infringe upon my consciousness and say that to me? It's my little smart mouth self. And so so I ended up going to Colombia and literally like I ended up going to different cities. Every city that I went to, first I was in Pasto, which is known as like the drug cartel city. I would see cracked out, well, maybe reformed, cracked out looking devotees, like trying to sell incense or like whatever, like selling something. And I'm just like, I could tell because of neck beads. I'm just like, and they're like, Hare Krishna. I'm just like, I'm not trying to see you in Colombia. Like, I'm trying to like do my thing. And then I went to another city. I like Cali. Literally in Cali, Colombia, I'm like walking through the park and devotees are doing Harinam right behind me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, on the bus, I see devotees like in the park. Every single place that I went, I kept on seeing devotees and I'm just like, this is so annoying. I don't want to see you all. And so later on, I understood what Gurudev was trying to like warn me about, or not warn me, but just let me know, because I went to Colombia to like do my own thing and find my own spiritual path. So I ended up going to Duitama and then going to the mountains. And there, like, luckily I'm a woman, because if not, I would have been sequestered. So I was in like the FARC territory. And so you could have easily been kidnapped and all this other kind of stuff. So I was there, I was with the Taoist, and they were teaching white magic. They were doing all this other kind of stuff. And so ended up getting initiated with them and got the new name, Mahatma Hawi Labi. After that, ended up returning to Ecuador. And I was like, Gurudev, I found my guru. I found my real guru. You're not my guru. I found my spiritual teacher. And I can't even remember what he said, but he was like, whatever, And so like at this time, then afterwards, like my father was about to leave his body, or was leaving his body. It was Vyasa Puja weekend. And there was another devotee from Liberia that also left that same weekend. And I would love to know who that person was, because I'm sure there's some type of connection. But, in Ecuador, I didn't know, when he was going to leave, but I was like, okay, I feel he's leaving. So let me chant, for his exit. And I told my mom, you should go to Gita Nagari. Like, everybody's going to Gita Nagari. Why would you stay with my dad? Like, go and have a good time. Like, you've been, you know, and luckily she did not listen to me. And so she ended up chanting in his ear as he was leaving his body, and all the devotees in Gita Nagari were also chanting for him as well, which was nice. So that was kind of, so as soon as he passed, like, it was like time was like slowed down, and it was just like, what am I here for? What am I doing on this earth? They like sobered me up. Like, I didn't want to drink anymore. I didn't want to do other things. I just was like, this is all garbage. Like, what the heck am I doing? And so from there, like, I was like, okay, I need something. And I was just like, should I go back to America or not? And so I ended up going back to America, and Guru Dev stopped whatever he was doing and went to Detroit to basically comfort my mom and the family and talk about my dad and his passing and different things like that. And so I just remember like my mom was not in the mood. She was not in the state to like, really hear it. And she was upset that he had left and was not there. And I just remember, I guess it must have been grief, whatever, laughter. All I remember is myself just laughing, but like I tilted my head back and the laugh went out super loud. It was just like boisterous and just, it's very embarrassing. But Gurudev was so comforting, so sweet, and so, connected, like a father figure, and just there and attentive and showing, how to be a loving devotee. And so after that, I continued going to Colombia. I went back to Ecuador, and then I decided to get another initiation, but I didn't know I was going to get initiated again. And so like Gurudev was just like, if you keep on playing with this stuff, I'm not going to be able to protect you anymore. I was like, well, if I'm supposed to die, I'm going to die. Like, I don't care. I'm going to serve like my spiritual path, like, do what I'm supposed to do. And so that's, so literally lightning struck the air, like the airport. And so I couldn't go that day, like little signs, but I'm like, when I'm determined, I don't care. I was like, I'm going. And so I had like Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and then I had Gurudev's books, like one or two of Gurudev's books with me. And so, this person thought that they were a master. And so I was just like, well, because he thought he was Krishna. He thought he was, basically every spiritual person that was of high quality. And I was like, okay, so, since you say, you're Krishna, then I was like, so what do you think of Chaitanya? And then he was just like, Chaitanya, and then he started breaking it down from like Latin and saying like how these were like demonic terms and all this other kind of stuff. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, so if you were, supposedly God, then you would know who Chaitanya is, and that would be Radha and Krishna. The fact that you don't know that means you don't know what you're talking about. So literally, there was a raid at night, and people came in shooting and everything. Luckily, I stayed asleep and I didn't even notice, but I was definitely in danger, and just Gurudev did protect me there. When I was returning from Colombia, literally all the stuff, like a lot of the stuff that I had, I brought back a big thing of honey, exploded all over a lot of the paraphernalia of that person's like materials. And so you could just see like Krishna was totally trying to cleanse and protect. So anyway, I returned to America, ended up taking my dad's ashes to India. When we go to India, I realized that Gurudev said like everything had been taken care of. But I'm like, okay, while I'm here, I need to figure out what my path is. I'm in Vrindavan. Am I supposed to be a Hare Krishna, or am I supposed to be Taoist? And so by reading the first canto, I could see my place and space within this body and this lifetime, and just realize that I was supposed to be a devotee. And so by the end of the trip, I could see that. And so in Juhu, Mumbai, chanted first 16 rounds, had the Jagannath smile. I was like, oh, this is not you. Like, what's going on? Whole new person. So that was all thanks to Gurudev, and basically allowing me to take this round of the block thing to try to figure out how to become a devotee. So when I come back to America, I'm in America, and I'm like, all right, Gurudev, I'd like to get initiated. He was like, that's nice. Yeah, we'll think about it. I don't, maybe sometime in the future. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. You told me I'm your devotee. Like, you need to, so in my head, like, yo, like, I want to get initiated. Like, and I was like telling him, like, I really like the name Shintamani. I would like to have a name like that. So this is how like informal I was and how tolerating he was. And so like, he was always punctual, loved to be punctual, and very astute with time. And so literally there was a psychic fest in Detroit, and he was there. and I almost missed the van because I was late. and he like made a comment like, yeah, you know, you almost got left. I was just like, you know, and you know, just not really, still working on realizing the importance of time. And so at the psychic fair, he was like, yeah, spoken. It was just so beautiful to see like how he was able to just completely transform audiences, and just, it was almost as if they were, some type of spell were cast, and everyone was just awed, you know, by him. And there, you know, because he saw me passing out different literature, that's how he gave me the name, Krishna Shakti. And so like I remember writing after I got the name, I'm just like, oh, this is the best name ever, I'm so glad you gave me this name. He's like, the name is powerful, you're not powerful, you're Debbie. That's it. Like, don't you forget that. It's like, okay. So after that, you know, after getting initiated, and literally during that initiation, my father must have kept me down because I wanted to jump up so many times, first and second. I'm just like so still that inner struggle of like, I want to be a devotee, but I don't want to be a devotee was going on, and is still probably going on. So yeah, so that was the beginning. After that, I continued writing him, but then like, once I just remember writing him a letter about like, it's hard not to be a hypocrite. Like, I really want to like do certain things. And just like, all you have to do is just stop doing the thing that makes you hypocritical. And I'm just like, that's so easy to say. Like, I'm just like, and then he would talk about like, how to like, people that are like working, people that are not able to fully integrate all of themselves. It's like they're schizophrenic. And I'm like, I don't want to be schizophrenic. Like, I want to like be able to integrate all myself, but not everyone's going to understand all of my world. Still working on that. But, it's just interesting to like, hear and see. So yes, those were some. And one of the main things that I do remember about Gurudev is that he was like, if you want to change the world, it starts with your family. And so he was very, it's all about community. And I just remember one time being in Chicago and Gurudev, like, so I was driving and my mom was probably telling me to slow down or something. And I was just like going like this. And Gurudev was like in the car right alongside, and he was like, going like this. And I was like, oh my gosh. And it's, and then other times like I would, maybe I would be making fun of my mom for certain things. And then he would make fun of me during the darshans for those very same things. So it was just like, he was very in tune, knew what was going on, and also trying to fix in a way that was appropriate and adequate at the time. I recently found one letter that was talking about my interest in metaphysical things. And in the letter, he was just like, you could have such a beautiful spiritual life if you just like focused it in Krishna consciousness and stop like delving into all these other like things. And, but he's like, you're so dang on crazy. You just want to keep on, going in like all these different paths and like, but you got to focus. And so I'm just like, wow, like this. So I can't wait to find the rest of my letters. I'm like looking for them. I'm like, yeah, but just so timely and so on point and so present and just so real with what he said. And still, I'm just like, the same type of thing is relevant right now. So definitely. Thinking about Gurudev, I'm just thinking about, his one of his last days. I was in Japan and I came back and I wasn't going to stay. I was just like, I want to like, I just want to be around and just serve as much as I can and just, but it was, also the fact that I wasn't, with my dad when he passed away. And so I'm just like, I'm not going to let this happen 2 times, another father, like, pass away and I'm not there. So it was interesting. And so I just remember Atmananda saying, like, if you could see the entities that are here from higher vibrations just by being in this environment, like you are being purified. And I was like, yes, that is true. So I was just like, skipped my ticket and I stayed. So, but it was just amazing to see during those last days, the interaction with devotees and just seeing how their lives were being transformed. And, you see this and then you realize how much I realized how much I took him for granted and take him for granted in terms of, how much did I change? How much am I changing? How much have I changed? All the teachings, like, so he refused to give me darshan, which at the time I completely understand why. But I was so upset with him. I was like, how could you not give me darshan? I came all the way from Japan. Da, da, da. And he's like, but you already know everything. There's nothing else for me to tell you. I'm like, how dare you say that to me? Like, this is your last time and you're not. But he gave me so many darshans like throughout my lifetime. Like literally, I was there for the class in Mayapur when he was talking about, he made that prayer to, Prabhupada, and I'm just like, this is, the way he sacrificed himself. And you just see that sacrifice. And I while I was there in Gitanagari, I'm like, okay, he sacrificed so much. I want to try to do a little sacrifice. Man, be careful what you pray for in Gitanagari. Seriously. Like literally, I was like doing something in the basement and like a piece of my flesh came out of my knee. And so like people thought it wasn't that bad, but then when they looked, you could see the bone. They're just like, holy. So like it was so disgusting. So I was like, well, shoot, I know it should be a lot worse and everything, but it's just like you have to be careful. And then I heard, Prannath, they also had a similar thing. Like he also did a similar prayer, and then like different things was happening with him as well. So it's just Gurudev. So when you're not on that level, you shouldn't make those prayers like, at all. But it's just like amazing just how much love he would give and continues to give. And so like I'm one of the things that I'm like noticing is that when disciples leave their body, it's how he makes arrangements. And so like in Detroit we had Radha Raman, who was initiated in the last initiation Gurudev gave in Gitanagari. And he had been a devotee for years in Detroit, very sweet and, loving devotee. And like, so he was in, I think it was like, hospice center near the temple. And so devotees were coming through. And literally like, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to go give darshan or not give darshan, just take, darshan and just wish him, good luck, with everything, the journey. And so my mom was there too. And so literally like he was about to leave his body and we were there, and Gurudev said, like, you just never know who you're going to leave your body with. Like you would just never expect. And literally I had my shalagram Sheila, like I put it on his head, and like his daughter was chanting Hare Krishna. I was chanting Hare Krishna. My mom was chanting Hare Krishna, and Akanta was reading the Radha Rani pastimes. And so it's just like Krishna made arrangements, and you could just see how Gurudev is still very much present. Same thing with Jagapati in New York. Like when he left his body once and then came back alive again for just a short amount of time. And within that short amount of time, one of those days, he like talked to me in the temple in New York, told me his whole life story, told me about his dream with Gurudev and how, Gurudev was like, watching Radha and like watching the Gopas like feed Krishna. And he was like, and Gurudev turned around and said, I told you this was real, And so literally just telling me all these things and trying to break me out of where I was at the time. And so from there, he drives us, my mom and I, to Gitanagari. And I'm just like, and he continues like telling like the process of his journey and how, Gurudev has been there and is continuing to be there. And it's just amazing. And so I have no doubt that, Gurudev also came, and it's just, the blessings that come forth, with all these arrangements. So definitely very fascinating. And just Gurudev just said, stay alive, to receive your inheritance, stay alive. So it's amazing, but I don't want to just stay alive. I want to actually be an active participant. I've been sidelined for too long. It's time to play. So Krishna willing, that maybe so one day. Definitely. So that's some of the things. I'm trying to think.
Wow, that's such an adventure that you've had with Guru Maharaj. I mean, on one level, it was a material adventure of you traveling to all these places. I remember that was one of the things that we always heard about you. Oh, she's in this place. Oh, she's in that place. Oh, she's gone to, another country, another city, another country. And throughout that time of your material journey, Guru Maharaj stayed with you spiritually. That's pretty amazing. By mail, by letters. Yeah. And it's interesting that your journey began with him since you were 11 years old. So, and at that time, going through teenager and all that, it's a very rebellious period. So it's quite understandable. But I wanted, something that Yeah, when I think of you, I always think of you as not staying in one place. However, it appears that you are now in one place because you are now an assistant professor at a university, which
Mhm.
means you're not able to just pick up and go like you always would, right?
Yeah. Technically,
Yeah.
yeah. I know that. Well, I mean, that's part of the reason why I wanted to do academia is because you can do research and travel the world, so. But with COVID, I was supposed to go to Russia and I was supposed to return to Brazil, but we'll see. See when that happens
Oh,
now. Yes,
so
yes, yes.
as a professor, you can still travel. You can still
Oh yeah,
travel.
definitely.
Oh,
Definitely, but not as much like during the semester, but summertime and Christmas
yes.
time and
Yeah, yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, during the holidays. But
Yeah.
before, you seems to me like you used to be going all the time,
Oh yeah.
right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and I remember Guru Maharaj, she used to always share that, oh, I got a letter from Krishna Shakti. She's still fighting. She's, this is a good fight. This is a good fight. So that was always, we always are, very eager to hear about how that fight was going to end. Now it's definitely has ended. I'm guessing it's ended.
Yes, yes.
And now you're settled with teaching African American studies. And as you know, right now we're, going through a major crisis in our world, and I guess all over the world. I mean, everywhere. I was going to say in our country, but it's really all over the world. So I'm wondering, having had the experience that you've had with Guru Maharaj, well, what do you think Guru Maharaj would be saying to you now to do in terms of what your qualifications are? You're like a professor of African American studies.
Yes. So I'm sure he would want me to engage it to help help our community and help various communities wherever I am. So I'm sure he would want me to do programs and do interfaith programs and different types of outreach programs that would engage people to think, just uplift them in a little, a different way. I think one of the ways right now, especially through health, I think vegetarianism is one of the easiest ways to promote, higher consciousness in different ways. And from there, maybe move into other aspects. Yoga meditation now is very popular. And I think that's another easy, people are into mindful meditation. So, actually, one of my colleagues has asked me to start some meditation or some yoga workshops. So I have a feeling that's going to be some of the things that I'll be doing in the future. But I have to first get tenure, and then from there, I'll be able to come out of the woodworks a little bit more. But in the meantime, I know I'm not in control. So when Gurudev pushes, I'm going to have to do what he wants. So that's another thing. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm open and ready to receive, and trying to make sure that I'm ready in all ways possible, because I focused a lot on the material, but making sure that my, spiritual base is also very sound. I need to be ready for that in all ways. So that's what is wonderful about this COVID time, making sure that I'm going back and reading Gurudev's books again, and then also just going through Prabhupada's books and making sure that I'm reading and understanding. And now, because when you read it, when you're in your 20s, it's different from your 30s and different from 40s. So, what does that mean? So I want to see it now with these different, eyes that I have, and just different way of looking at things. And then, each decade it's going to be different, and hopefully more nuance. So definitely, I think he would want me to, he definitely would probably want me to talk with people, leaders in the community, leaders in the area, and be engaged and be ready and be open to be involved in some way or another. So.
What about in our ISKCON institution? Do you see anywhere where it could have some value to educate people about African American, just in terms of the experiences? I'm guessing that that's a part of what you have learned over the years.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah. So I'm just curious if you see a need for that in our institution, in our present institution.
I think the Baha'is do a very good job, and they want to enter racial society, and they focus on love and understanding what love is and how to love across races. I think we have a high philosophy and we talk about it, but in terms of application, we have a long way to go. And, I mean, the whole thing is, people are people, as Guru Dev would say. No matter where you go, you're going to find the same people in different forms, in different ways, good, bad, everything in between. So definitely we need to understand race. We need to understand the importance of it. But then also, we already understand we're not these bodies. But then when you go to, like when I went to Guyana with Mother Vilas and family and, different people, the fact that, you have a Black and Indian country, but yet you hardly have people that are of African descent involved in it is problematic. The fact that you have, right now, it's going to be very interesting. Understanding Eurocentrism within the movement is very important. And I think a lot of people negate that. And it's not just, Black bodies looking at these things. We can look within our institution, just dark-skinned Indians or dark-skinned people in period, or people of color, period. Whiteness is glorified. Whiteness is valued. Whiteness is seen as the best thing ever. So understanding that, even though we know we're not these bodies, how can we overcome that, deficiency of certain ways? The fact that, some of the texts have been changed. I remember entering and they would talk about Damodar and they would talk about his skin being Black, and now it's like dark cloud, so, you look at certain things and you see it change. Like right now they're building institute, building Mayapur Vedic planetarium. How many of those deities or how many of those things are going to actually represent the actual color of Krishna and the color of his different pastimes? So the fact that Eurocentric pervades, I mean, back in the day in India, people used to put sesame seed oil on their skin to get darker because they understood that was closer to God. Nowadays, you don't want to even have deities that are Black because people hate Blackness. So understanding that, but to me, that represents the epitome of Kali Yuga. We understand we're not these bodies. Anything that has to do or represent or reflect anything close to Krishna, we don't like it. That includes Blackness. Krishna literally means Black, all attractive, all beautiful, all the highest. So understanding that, but really understanding that and actually implementing that within our movement is a whole different thing. So we have a lot of work to do, and each community is different. You have a different space and place, for each community has its own struggle, and it may not be Blackness. It could be Latinidad. It could be, many different things. Each place you have your own. It could be, upper class, lower class. It could be, Guru Dev used to talk about this all the time. And it's like, we see this, but the whole thing is like, ultimately we are one. We're all one. So all these different distinctions, yes, they exist on a superficial level. Yes, we have different identities, but they're not our true identities. So like, the first thing we're supposed to understand is we're not these bodies. But if we can't even engage with equality, and when we talk to Black people, when we talk to other people, we can't do that without looking down on people, then have we actually advanced? And we all are prejudiced in some ways or another. How are we working on that within ourselves? So I really, I feel that we need to have more workshops. When we say we're not this body, how do we still show love and compassion for those that are in difficult positions? And Guru Dev sacrificed himself in so many ways because he saw the suffering and the pain that women went through, that, Black people went through, that many people go through within, devotional society and within the society in general. So it's very... Yeah, so definitely we have a lot of work to do, but I think focusing on how can we really, because that's the whole lens of Eurocentrism literally clouds how we're viewing. If we can't even appreciate Krishna because we think Black is bad, like how are we engaging with anything? How are we engaging with everyone? We can only appreciate, it's fascinating. It's interesting, but this is where we must do the work in different ways. We have details about high devotees. Sutta Goswami, most perfect body, was Black. Arjuna was Black. Like all these different figures were Black skin. And, back in the day, Africa, Australia, and India were one. So like when we talk about this, and when I talk about the African diaspora, understanding the Vedic and, Vedic civilization was all over the world. What did that mean? And how did it manifest in different spaces? So this is where, how is it all connected? Luckily, we have Sri Nandana, Prabhupada disciple Stephen Knapp, who's doing a wonderful job in, locating that. We still need to delve more into Africa and a lot of the histories of the people there and connect it with the Vedas and show how it's all connected. So definitely. Yeah,
Well, I am just anxious and eager to see what you will do in order for assisting in globalization in terms of understanding, how we can avoid, well, we can actually just not have so much fragmentation, people more closer together under that foundational principle that we're not this body, even though we know that that's so kind of far in one sense to really realize. So I am really waiting and anxious to see what you will do about that. And
I'm excited. I'm excited. This is an orchestra, as Guru Dev would say. We're all playing different instruments and we want to all play in tune together. So, I mean, that's the same thing with races and, everything. So we all want to play together, and create a beautiful symphony, harmonize, So it's exciting.
Yes. I want to hear your string. What your
He's still teaching me how to dance. So.
That's right, Krishna Shakti. You're such a dancer. Anybody ever see you dance? Like, forget it. No. So I'm gonna move over to Bakia, and she's in Kazakhstan, and I'm gonna see if she has anything she would like to share with Krishna Shakti. Bakia, I can see you. I'm not seeing.
I'm here for Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I was it was such a story, such a Leela you've shared with us, Krishna Shakti. It's incredible, I think Krishna consciousness movement is often blamed of being sectarian, so that they push people, force people to join. But your example shows quite an opposite thing, yeah. So it's just great how resistant you were. It's incredible, what kind of, power inside you had. It's great. And my understanding was that there was this reaction was kind of jealousy or some kind of,
yes.
Like freedom. You wanted to be free of it, yeah. And yes. What about your family? How were they reacting on this? Did they try to persuade you or something, react or affect you? That's interesting for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, no, my family, they definitely tried to, I'll show a picture. Let's see. Definitely tried to persuade me in many different ways. So yeah. So they definitely wanted me to stop eating meat. They wanted me to stop doing a lot of things. And so when I was with the Taoists in Latin America, they were so scared. But my dad knew. He's like, "Oh, this is great. She's waking up." But everybody else was freaking out. And Gurudev was also, fine. Like, don't worry, it's a journey. Because he also went through similar things of entering different, spiritual paradigms. So definitely they were very worried. My mom was just like, well, if she doesn't get it in this lifetime, maybe next lifetime. My brother wanted, wanted to help me a little bit more. And also my aunt, Aunt Teriyami, also wanted to help me, in different ways. But yeah, so I would write my brother. I think my mom and my brother, were very, very helpful. And it was, yeah, definitely. Cause I went to India at the first time as a Taoist. So I was just super fixed on spirituality, and I just wanted to get the spiritual experience from a Vrindavan point of view. So it was fascinating. So my brother really helped along in the journey, definitely a lot. So yeah, very blessed. And that's what Gurudev would say also. He was just a lot of times devotees come in different packs together in families, to help them, go back to Godhead. Because if sometimes if you're alone, it's a lot harder. So sometimes they'll cluster up so that you can help each other, stay on track or try to stay on track. And if one is off, then the other will help. And so you see this, and this is definitely what I've been seeing. We're really trying to help each other stay on track. So it's a beautiful thing, a blessing. Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you very much. So one more thing, you mentioned that in your plans it was to go to Russia.
Mm.
Maybe if you come, so just keep in mind that there are so many disciples and people who love your Guru Maharaj, and so they very welcoming to meet up with them, to share your experience. It's very inspiring. You know, your story is very inspiring. Great, very much.
I can't wait. I know it was the African Studies Conference, so I was international when I was supposed to. So hopefully they'll reschedule it and I can go in the future. I can't wait to meet you. I've been wanting to go to that Black Sea Festival for years. So I really, so many devotees. I just remembered brahmachari devotees jumping over my back to get prasad. I mean, you guys are very eager for the mercy over there. And then also the Russian devotees would always finish their books before we would in English. So you guys are definitely on track, and I can't wait to meet many of you all.
Oh, and we have in Kazakhstan, you know, yes, this like the section of the Institute of Applied Spiritual Technology. So this is common. Yeah.
I cannot wait. And you guys are so inspiring that you have this institute. I feel like I'm now, like, you know, I think before we were trying to think of like some type of urban name or center or something that we should like create. And I realized like Gurudev already created it. Like it's such a brilliant, brilliant idea. So I'm just like, I really have to go over Gurudev's books again because, you know, you think you hear it, but now I feel like it'll click a little bit clearer. You know, what he was talking, Institute for Applied Spiritual Technology. Brilliant. And we need to have these all over the place. I know when I went to San Antonio and saw Advaita Acharya, like iFast Institute, I'm like, this is what we need. And this is a perfect space. So maybe this is what I'll be doing here in Kentucky. I don't know. You know, perfect space to create like a revolution, which is what we need, a loving revolution, non-sectarian loving revolution to help people unite. Definitely. So I look forward to meeting you all over there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Prabhupada said he came to create a spiritual revolution, right? So we're definitely, yes, in a process. So you're in Kentucky still?
Yeah.
Do you have anybody there?
No.
Is there
No, I've been going back to Detroit once a month to go on the altar to get my boost, but I have my deities. I have Jagannath, and I have like Shaligram Shila and Lakshmi Nrsimha. So I'm adjusting, and we'll see what Krishna wants. So yeah, I'm you know, it's time to integrate everything. You know, you come in this world alone, you're gonna leave alone. So it's like, all right, we got to be able to do it. You know, yeah, I'm not a baby anymore. Like, you know, to say I've been in the movement for 20 years now, I'm just like, me, I'm supposed to, you know, I still think of myself as a little kid half the time. So like, it's, yes.
Well, you've been, you know, you've always been like a loner in the sense that you're traveling all over the world by yourself. So you're not afraid of anything. No. I know that about you. You're just not afraid.
No.
Yeah. So I don't know if Anna wants to ask anything. I see she's kind of close there. If not, Kishori, would you like to share anything with Krishna Shakti?
Krishna Shakti, this is Anna. Thank you so much. I can't turn on my camera at the moment. I just wanted to thank you for the stories that you shared and for the memories. As I was listening to you, I was wondering like what it is that you have to do in your past life to have Gurudev chasing you over across this life so much. Like it's not like people are looking for spiritual path. Like right now you have to, in order to get initiation, you have to like some Maharaj is asking you to do like a couple of years of school, then even to get pranama mantra, and then another year to get pranama mantra, and then again some other people, Guru Devs, are chasing them, like writing them letters and everything. It's just so fascinating how everyone is different, and the personal relationships that we have with our gurus have with us. It's just incredible. And this is like, for me, this is one of like kind of like one of a kind stories. So just really wanted to thank you for sharing it.
No, thank you. Yeah, no, it's definitely Guru's mercy. I just thank my dad. Yeah, without him, we wouldn't be here. So, it's just mercy, 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 mercy. And you know, so I don't want to be a miser. So I understand I've been a miser, and I know it's time to share more, and I'm preparing for whatever Gurudev wants me to do, and we will be ready. So it's, you know, he would talk about co-creating, you know, and just, and work. Yeah, this is, it's amazing, but he's just so merciful. And Prabhupada, they're just so merciful. We're just so fortunate, so fortunate, so fortunate. So we have to give.
Yeah, with Anna, with some of his disciples, he was so informal. And Krishna Shakti was one of those persons. He was so informal with her because, you know, her dad was a disciple and he had left his body. And I believe Guru Maharaj felt responsible. Yes, her dad and yeah, Haribol felt responsible for her, and he allowed her, you know, just like a dad would, he allowed her the freedom to do whatever it was that she was doing. And he just made sure, he just kept in contact with her to make sure, you know, that she was always okay. But, you know, and she was really resistant, super resistant. Sometimes she was like rude to him, you know. We're like, what? But he would never, you know, and that's when I think of when Guru Maharaj talk about compassion, how deep it is, because he never took it personally, ever. Actually, he would give her more love. The more mean she was, the more love he would give to her.
Make it even more frustrating and irritating. It's like, how dare you? My disrespect is not like putting you off like it does everybody else. This is not working. It would make it even more attractive, you know, literally. It's just like, oh, I don't want to be with you, but yes, I do. I want to, you know, so it's just, yeah, the power of love and compassion.
I tell you, and that's something that I'm so much praying to learn, you know, because, you know, you sometimes think, oh, yeah, I'm not going to take this personally. Whatever, somebody might do something, say something, act a certain way. And you're like, no, don't take it personally. Maybe they're acting under the mode. So whatever. Just give them love anyway. It's not so easy. But Gurudev gave it. He would just give it. He would just give it always. And so I'm just really, I'm really grateful that you've told your story about that. Yeah.
So blessed and honored to be able to actually tell it. So thank you for allowing me to do so.
Well, it's our team. Kishore Rani, you have anything you want to share?
I would like to say again, also thank you for this amazing story and such example of love. And also interesting things that you mentioned, that you, wherever place you went, you were looking for a temple. Isn't it amazing? like you said, like you were like away and also drawn to it. It's so amazing how, like, even if you don't want, Krishna is so attractive that we cannot resist. Thank you so much for the story.
Oh, thank you all. No, it's so true. And we still do this, you know, I still see myself doing this, you know, so it's just like, all right, stop, like, stop, you know, they say Krishna wants us more than we want to participate. So it's just like, all right, stop. But then I used to always be afraid, like, you know, like if Krishna is all love, like he's just going to like take over and like, you know, we're just not going to be able to control it, you know, so whatever, whatever Krishna wants. It's out of our hands anyway. Like we act like we could control something. We can do nothing. We can't do anything. So, and this is the power of Krishna and Gurudev and his beautiful servants like Bhakti, Tirtha, Swami. You know? Yeah. And the whole thing is like, I don't know if I would have been able to become a devotee in any other way. So the unique way that he approached us, which I'm really excited to delve into Mother Parameshwar's project, because Gurudev said like each way that each devotee became a devotee, and actually I should open it up because I have a feeling Gurudev wants us to open it up. So anybody who would like to tell their story about how they became a devotee, please contact myself, and then we'll record your story and we'll put it in the book. So
can you share where they can contact you?
Yes, ewingkam@gmail.com. So Kamara Ewing, yep. So we'll use that one. And that would be a way. And just put in the line, Bhakti Tirtha Swami. So basically, how did you become a devotee? And then I'll put the letter that Mother Parameshwar has put together that Gurudev wrote to basically inspire the book. And right now we have about 67 people. And so definitely, why not add? So all Bhakti Tirtha Swami's disciples that would like to share their story, please let me know. I don't think my story's in there, so I still have to write mine too. But cheers, yeah. Everybody else is looking forward to it. Definitely.
Thank you so much, Krishna Shakti. We're so very grateful that you took the time to come on our program. We know that this is Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's and Srila Prabhupada's mercy that we can get this opportunity to share about Prabhupada's dear devotee, dear disciple, His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. We want to thank the team for being on here with us tonight, and we're going to invite you back. We're hoping that you will put a course together for us that's relevant to devotee care about the, I don't know, I was going to say about the diaspora, but just in general, what you think might be relevant for devotee care in terms of understanding, the African-American experience. And since that's your profession, that's where you're professional in, maybe you can put a course together for us, and we'll be happy to have that course on our Inter-IFAST.
All right, okay. I will look forward to putting it together, and we'll see how Gurudev wants it to be done.
Okay.
Look forward to collaborating.
All right, well, this is it, caring for devotees. Yes, we get this education for a reason.
Yes.
Everything is for a reason, a purpose, and to be used for Krishna.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Okay, so we're waiting. Let me know.
And thank you for inspiring my father to become a devotee as well. So without you, we wouldn't be here.
Your father was a devotee. He was an amazing soul. Ever since the first day, he was just ready. He was waiting. He was just waiting. Yeah, he was amazing. And it is amazing how potent he was, because he made all of you devotees of Krishna. So that speaks to who your dad was. He's loved and we think about him all the time. Ekavir Prabhu always talk about your dad. He's with us. He's present.
Oh yeah.
Haribol, thank you so much. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees. Haribol.